Good morning. It's Sunday, October 30th. And yesterday I was reading the New York Times online, and a question was raised. It dealt with gun violence, who I have spoken about many times on my rants. And the article starts out saying, America's teachers are arming themselves. Should we discourage them or should we train them? That's a very tough question because in the United States, there are 29 states where a teacher can get a gun with very, very little paper to fill out or anything. They get a permit and they can have a gun. And I bet you that in a couple of those states they can just buy a gun. So the question about training them or discouraging them is a very interesting question. Now, this issue has not been raised out of the clear blue sky. This is an issue that is raised just based upon the facts that this year alone, 2022, there have been 40 school shootings in America, causing injury and death. That's the most on record, and the year isn't even over. And the last one took place when a 19-year-old broke into his former school with an AR-15 style rifle and 600 rounds of ammunition. But in this case, the police were there in a hurry. But even though they got there in a hurry, 2 people were still killed. A 10th grader and a 61-year-old physical ed teacher. And it's a good thing that they got there in 6 minutes, or else there probably would have been more people dead. So I think about this situation where the villain, the invader, comes in with an AR-15 or some other automatic rifle and 600 rounds of ammunition. And think about a fully trained teacher. Is she walking around or he walking around the school with an AR-15? Or it's something similar to that? No, they're going to have a pistol. And they could be well trained, but the chances are very, very good that the invader in the school is going to be better armed than the teacher. So even though the teacher may be well trained, that training cannot overcome somebody who is armed much better than they are. So I suggest that yes, if you're going to let a teacher have a gun, they should be trained, but recognize the fact that that is worthless. Because the persons who come into the schools to kill people are not coming in with a .22 caliber pistol. They are coming in armed to the teeth. So I think it is very foolish to take this approach that if the teachers were armed, schools would be safer. And if they knew how to use their weapons, schools would be safer. They will not be safe because the people who go into schools, into places where they intend to kill, are not coming in there with a 6-shooter. They are coming in there armed to their teeth and wearing body armor too, wearing gear that will protect them if somebody else has a gun. I'll bet you that those 600 rounds of ammunition could have killed everybody in that school. There are many schools that have small populations, and there are many schools that are in the boondocks and things. So I think it is a mistake to even imagine that arming and training teachers will do anything. What it might do is make the villain prepare better. Maybe the villain will spend a little more time getting ready to attack a school if he knows that there may be armed teachers in the school. So I'm against arming teachers. I'm against training them. They have enough on their plate. And what happens if the teacher has a bad day and all of a sudden you find herself she's armed with a gun and some kid is giving her a hard time? Then we'll hear about some teacher going off the wall and shooting a kid. Now, I don't think that can happen. I think it would be so rare as to be almost minuscule. But, people with guns are dangerous. And if students know there's a gun in the teacher's presence, or where she keeps her gun, what's to prevent the students from getting hold of that gun? So I don't think that schools should have weapons at all. I don't think teachers should have weapons. I don't even think people should have weapons. But we can't stop that. The gun-loving population in this country is just out of control. If we had any sense at all, we would ban the sale of AR-15s and things like that. But no, we have a constitution that says there's a well-regulated militia and everybody could have a gun. We have a bunch of people who are well-regulated militia people running around and killing people indiscriminately. It's well-regulated militia who invade schools. Is that what we really want? It's okay because we have at least 29 states that are in favor of that. And those 29 states that allow people to carry guns are willing to train the teachers. Isn't that wonderful? More guns in society instead of less guns, instead of no guns. How about a society without guns? You think America could cope with that? I think not. I think guns are so entrenched in our psyche that we'll never get rid of them. But training teachers, allowing them to have firearms in schools where children could get their hands on those guns? No way. I'm against that. I'm against training teachers. It's tough enough to train them to teach properly, let alone train them to use firearms. And I'm not disparaging teachers. I've known many good teachers. I've known some poor ones too. So in any event, that's my position. No guns in school at all. No training of teachers. And let's hope we could have a law that outlaws some of these weapons that we allow people to get their hands on. So I leave you with that this morning. Have a great day. Bye.